Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay, and today I just want to quickly talk about what vehicles might be coming in Star Wars Legion. Well, more specifically, why I even think vehicles will be coming. Now, there was something that I 100% did not notice, and I actually saw it in Ellis's video in Star Wars Legion Command. I highly recommend that you check him out. Very good player as well, so if you want tactics and actual people who know what they're talking about during the game, he'll be your man for that. And he pointed out something that apparently he saw it on Reddit, but I don't know the original Reddit user. So, and that was to do with the way that the waves are done. So apparently, because the game was delayed, that the ATST and the Airspeeder should have actually been Wave 1, or the amendment to Wave 1. So we would have had Leia and Veers with the Snowtroopers and the Fleet Troopers, and then after that we would have had the vehicles. Now, I'm very happy that that didn't happen, because I think we would have had too few units at release, and I think it allowed us to have broader experiences. But the fact that it was delayed meant that that didn't happen, and that's relevant. So then the wave after that, with Han and Bubba, and the units, the scouts and stuff like that, they went smoothly. Then what did we get after that? We then got the turrets. Again, something for both factions. The wave after that, we're looking at Palp and Chewie, and the relevant units, and then we're getting the specialists. So with the Rebel Pathfinders and the Death Knights and the Death Troopers, we'll probably get something after that for both factions. And I've been talking about vehicles, I think, for literally ages. Not that long, maybe a couple of months, but I've been talking about vehicles, and why I didn't notice this pattern. Otherwise, maybe I could have made this prediction a little bit sooner. But essentially, I was saying that vehicles will be next, and then the Pathfinders and Death Troopers came in. I was like, I was wrong. What does it make sense? So I was wrong. But now, having had that laid out for me, it makes sense that we'll get something else for both factions after the Pathfinders and the Death Troopers and Krennic and Jyn. So what could that be? I hope beyond hope that it's vehicles, right? I think like we're just missing a few vehicles. We've had troops, turret troops. It's been mainly like troop heavy, and I'd like something a little bit more feisty to get in there. So this video, that's why I think vehicles will be next. I've been thinking vehicles will be next for ages, but having seen that, I said beyond confident. That's a lie. It's becoming perhaps clearer to me that it might be vehicles. It could very, very easily be something else. Like, I think we saw something in the rules about bounty hunters, so it could be something like that. We've already had droids, so I'm not 100% sure what it could be. But this is FFG. I'm sure they could surprise me. So the question is, what vehicles? So then I went online, as you often do if you're on YouTube, and I'm on a Battlefront Wikipedia page, right? And because I don't know too much about Star Wars, doing a video like this is actually quite difficult. So if I say something, if I miss an obvious option, do let me know in the comments. If I say about a vehicle that actually wasn't in the Galactic or the Empire or whatever because it was in the Clone Wars, then do again let me know. But I went on Battlefront, and this is Rebel Alliance, right? Not very good for the Galactic Republic. They don't show that many tanks, but we'll get onto that in a minute. And I was just looking through this list, and I was like, oh well, the AT-RT we've got. The U-Wing, we're probably not going to get it in space. The AT-AT is too big. The Airspeeder is something we already have. The Land Speeder, no. And the Speeder Bikes, I was like, Speeder Bikes, that would fit the niche, because I think when it comes to the factions at the minute, you've got the Airspeeder and the Speeder Bikes. They're like on separate factions. And then you've got the AT-RT and the ATST, and they sort of like balance each other out. So you could, in theory, swap them. So you could get the Rebels with the Speeder Bikes. We already have seen some Rebels on some Speeder Bikes. They just steal everything, don't they? Those pesky bloody Rebels. So that would make some sort of sense to me. And then for the Imperials, the Galactic Empire, you could get the AT-RT. Now, apparently these are used during the Galactic Empire, the war and stuff like that, but I think they're more commonly associated with the Clone Wars, so maybe we won't get them. But I would sort of be amused if they did that, if we got instead Speeder Bikes and an AT-RT flip round. Maybe, with different costs and stuff like that, different uses. that something that could happen, and I would personally be interested in. However, that doesn't answer the question about treaded vehicles. I mean, this is actually a hover vehicle, but surely we'll have a treaded vehicle here somewhere. Treaded vehicles. Now, we've had rules for the treaded vehicles for quite a while. I think it might maybe the first update, perhaps maybe even it came out with them. I can't remember, but they've been talking about treaded vehicles for a while. And if I'm honest, googling this is a pain in the backside. There's quite a few treaded vehicles, and I have absolutely no idea which ones it could be if we are getting treaded vehicles. Yeah, would a treaded vehicle work from both sides? Possibly. So. My problem with the treaded vehicle is where does it fit points wise and what is its purpose, right? Because if it's a big tank for the Imperials, let's say, the ATST is sort of like just a walking version of a tank, basically. So what's that going to do? You know what I mean? Like, how many points is it? I personally would, if I'm as an Empire player myself, I'd very much like a vehicle that's about 120 points, 100, 150 points, something like that, where it's like, yeah, we're in that mid ground between like an ATRT and an ATST, and it's a tank, and I'd very much be happy. For the Rebels, it's a little bit weird because they've got the ATRT and the Airspeeder, and nobody likes the Airspeeder. Well, Thomas Double Rainbow likes the Airspeeder, but it's a bit weird because like it's not a tank. They could go with the tank. I think if anybody's more likely to get a tank, it would sort of be the Rebels. But then does that fit with the Rebel theming? I don't know. That's why I sort of think like an ATRT would be perfect for the Empire, and the speeder bikes would be interesting for the Rebels. That's why I think it might be that. But if we are going to get treaded vehicles, well then there are there's so many options, and some of them probably aren't used in the right era. So do forgive me, but you know, this is a tank. Apparently this is the T3B Heavy, you know, of course. It's a predecessor to this one. Ooh, I mean, that looks horrible, so I'd be surprised if we get that. Yeah, that one looks fine. So it reminds me of Wally. Then they have this tank, which is like a hover tank, but again, not a treaded vehicle, so might not happen because we've got rules for treaded vehicles, so that seems a bit more likely. Yeah, very possible options. I think two tanks would be a bit weird, but if they did go with that, then the Imperials have got a few tanks. They've got this tank. Oh, it's like a classic tank. Is this a predecessor to anything? No, maybe not, because this is one that you can get in, so probably not that. This maybe looks decent. That very much reminds me of Clone Wars. I'm sure there's tanks out there with treads. Again, this one looks like a hover vehicle that are probably going to happen, maybe. And I hope very soon. I hope that's the next wave. Because if it's not that, I can't think what it would be. As I said, we had something for a bounty hunter, but that seems, considering we only had Boba like the last wave, and the Rebels getting a bounty hunter might be a bit weird. Would they even get one? And maybe they're getting a smuggler, maybe they're getting Lando. I don't know. It's all a little bit confusing right now. I hope it's a vehicle. I'm not specific about which ones. Maybe you guys have. It's a little bit easier for the Clone Wars because I think the Clone Wars were more vehicle heavy. Whereas the original trilogy, maybe for budgetary reasons, had like ATSTs, ATRT. Well, was there an ATRTs? Not ATRTs, what am I trying to say? Speeder bikes, and that they had the Airspeeder, but yeah, that's about it. So I can really think of. Maybe I should rewatch the films. Maybe I should have done that before this video. If we're getting vehicles, let me know which vehicle you think would be next. I honestly have no idea. Could very easily be tanks. It could very easily be speeder bikes and the ATRT. How would you feel about the speeder bikes and the ATRT if that was the case? Like, I'm gonna put my money on that, right? And if I'm wrong, you can all laugh in my face. But you know, it might not even be vehicles, so you can all doubly laugh in my face. I'm setting myself a very small, narrow margin of victory. So maybe I'll renege on that offer. We're not doing it. Let me know your thoughts though. What do you think the vehicle-wise we might get? And as I said, how would you feel if we got speeder bikes and ATRTs? I'd be pretty happy with that. How would you guys feel? And if it's not vehicles, what else could it be? And do you think we'll always see this trend of like character and infantry unit, and then something else, character infantry unit, and then something else? Do you think that trend will continue forever? Do you think that even is a trend? I mean, it's pretty compelling, so I think that is the trend. Let me know your thoughts though. Have a most beautiful day. If you like this video, do let me know by liking the video. Comment below with everything I have asked you right now. Thank you to all my Patreons. Have a most beautiful day, and goodbye. Bye guys.